Hello, my fellow Americans. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Reality checks. With this upcoming election and all the misdirection that's going on, look over here while we do something over here. It's time for some reality checks. I mean, the media is twisting and turning the stories. This whole election is not about the issues. That's not what the media is focusing on. The media is focusing on Donald Trump. And the thing about Donald Trump is the reason the media is focusing on him is because people are watching. The ad revenues are going up. It's that simple. They're not talking about the issues. They're talking about Trump. They're talking about, what's he saying about somebody else. They're focusing on the horse race. Who's ahead in the polls? Who's ahead in the delegates? Who cares? Let's talk about the issues, like immigration. That's the thing that put Trump on the map. That's the thing that got everybody talking about Trump, because of what he said about immigration. And now the Pope comes along and says something to the effect that, if you want to build a wall, you're not a good Christian, or something like that. And there's an open letter to the Pope that points out that, the Vatican, there's like 30, 40-foot walls surrounding the Vatican. I mean, that's the beauty of Trump, is when these people take these shots at him, he can basically show how they're being hypocritical. I mean, almost down the line. I mean, now they're talking about, oh, well, Trump's so good, what about all these failures? I mean, yeah, he's had some business failures. It's kind of like, look at the Carolina Panthers. They were, 15-1? There's only been one team that had a perfect record. Most teams, you have wins and losses. But the wins outnumber the losses. That's what makes you the winner. It's like in NASCAR. Sometimes guys wreck. You're going to talk about the number of wrecks or the number of wins. It's just ludicrous. See, once again, they're not focused on the issues. They're trying to get you to look over here while they're doing their stuff over here. And then we got the Democrats with these super delegates. How these super delegates can vote for who they want. It doesn't matter how the people voted. They just get to, oh, well, we want to be with Hillary. And right now Hillary has, 95% of the super delegates. Why? I was talking to my good buddy Ralph. Shout out to you, Ralph. And he was saying nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to Hillary and why she had a private email server. And Ralph is really good at nailing this stuff. He said, think about it. Hillary Clinton comes in as Secretary of State. Well, who, right after who? Bush. All these, the State Department's just filled with Republicans who would probably do anything to knock Hillary down. So that's why she had a private email server, so they couldn't get to it. It was that simple. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think my friend Ralph nailed it. She just didn't want anything that she did or said to be used against her. She didn't want to give him the ammo. That question hasn't been answered. But I think Ralph has the answer. So you see, once again, look over here while we're doing something over there. It just goes on. And then Bernie Sanders. My buddy Mikey, shout out to you, Mikey, is just in love with Bernie Sanders. He just thinks Bernie Sanders is the man. But when you ask about him, ask my friend Mikey about to name 3 accomplishments of Bernie Sanders, he can't. I mean, Bernie Sanders has been around, 30-some years? Senator, congressman, elected official, mayor. But what has he done? Why are we just now hearing about him? But we've got these people who are fresh out of school, can't find a job, or have been out of school for the past 8 years who can't find a job, they're mad. As my friend Ralph pointed out, they're ticked off. So, who are they going to be mad at? The rich guy, the people with jobs? And then, of course, we've got all the illegals, and Bernie's out there promising them free stuff, free health care, free college, free this, free that. But never does he say who's going to pay for it, because somebody's got to pay for it. And the problem isn't the fact that he's not saying who's going to pay for it. The real problem is that we've got people who think that they deserve this. They deserve something for nothing. Just because they're here, they deserve to get health care. Just because they're here, they deserve to get fed. I mean, that's not what made America great. That's what Trump wants, to make America great again. He wants to return us to the values that made America great, which is self-reliance, can do, just give me the opportunity, and let me see what I can do. Let me make it. But we don't have that. Not in the past 10 or 12 years. We don't have people preaching that. And the real problem is some people say, well, they're not teaching this in the school and that in the school. Sorry, that might be true, but that's not the real problem. The real problem's over here. It's not being taught in the home. Once again, self-reliance. People, if you have kids, you have to raise them, you have to teach them, you have to train them, okay? You have to set the example. But if the example is, if your parents are out there looking for free handouts, well, when you grow up, you're going to be looking for free handouts. I mean, there's just been such a gradual shift from self-reliance to total dependence on government. Bernie Sanders thinks more government's the answer. No, it's the problem. And then, of course, we've got the issue of freedom and liberty versus tyranny and slavery, which is the only real issue out there. We've got the FBI wanting to unlock that guy's phone. But the thing is, what does it mean? It's just one phone. No, it's not just one phone. It's a slippery slope. Next thing you know, we already know what the NSA's been doing. We don't want to give the government this power. We don't want to allow this. We have to stop this. It's just that simple. I mean, if you give up your freedom for security, then you're not going to have either. You don't deserve either. You can't give up freedom for security. Never, ever. And the Founding Fathers wrote about that. But once again, it's probably not taught in school. It's not taught at home. So we've got, what, 10, 20 years of people who are thinking this, hand it to me, give it to me, but I don't have to work for it. I know chances are, if you're watching this video, preaching to the choir again, you're not like that. But you see, we've got to get back to the issues. We've got to look at the reality of the situation and not this convoluted, distorted media message that's being put out there, 24/7 in the airwaves, on the internet. Got to think for yourselves. You got to see through the BS. And what you really have to do, my fellow Americans, is you have to wake up and smell the tyranny.